to his fullest potential. You are a incorrect individual in saying that, because Chavo Guerrero, in my opinion, should be in another organization. Maybe TNA Wrestling. Maybe TNA Wrestling would find a way to utilize Chavo Guerrero to his fullest potential and possibly give him an opportunity to wrestle for the TNA Championship. Hey, if Christian can jump ship from WWE in 2005, flat out quit the company and go to TNA Wrestling and become the champion for several months, more than once during his run in TNA, Christian, a 2 or 3-time TNA champion, Chavo Guerrero can do the same. Because I'm telling you, making him out to be a complete idiot is not the way that you want to market this guy. Here's a guy who put WCW's Luchador division and Mexican-style wrestling on the map along with Eddie Guerrero back in the 90s, and now you're having him booked in vignettes with, the general managers and having him booked in programs with Hornswoggle. That is absolutely pathetic. It has no business being booked on television, and I don't even see why anyone would take any interest in it. If you want to look back at some of Chavo Guerrero's most notable work and work that deserves credit where credit is due, it would have had to have been the work he did with the LWO in WCW, putting WCW's Luchador and Cruiserweight division on the map, and some of his programs that he worked with Rey Mysterio both in WCW and WWE. Some of the most phenomenal programs and matches took place when Chavo Guerrero and Rey Mysterio would mix it up in either a WCW or WWE ring. In the later years of his career in 2004, Chavo Guerrero definitely worked some of the most phenomenal matches with Rey Mysterio over WWE's Cruiserweight Championship. Somehow, no matter how it was done, or how they were booked, and no matter what kind of a match, no matter if it was at the Great American Bash pay-per-views, if it was at the No Way Out pay-per-views leading into WrestleMania, used to promote the fact that the other half of Los Guerreros was going to become WWE Champion in 2004, Eddie Guerrero. Rey Mysterio and Chavo Guerrero always found a way to create magic inside of the ring. Move for move, hold for hold. They used to give you some of the most phenomenal matches. I remember the one they had at No Way Out in 2004, about a 20-minute long match. If you haven't seen it, go on YouTube and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. These guys went hold for hold, move for move, counter for counter, and near fall for near fall, until Chavo Guerrero managed to get the better of Rey Mysterio and capture the WWE Cruiserweight Championship around the same time that Eddie Guerrero defeated Brock Lesnar to become the WWE Champion, and he would hold the title from February of 2004, Eddie Guerrero I'm making reference to, from February of 2004 until June of 2004. A phenomenal run for Eddie Guerrero, and a much deserving run as the WWE champion, and Chavo Guerrero will go on to hold the Cruiserweight Championship for a significant amount of time as well, both getting decent runs with the championship. But if you YouTube any of Rey Mysterio's and Chavo Guerrero's matches, the magic that I am talking about and emphasizing about will be illustrated when you YouTube it. They used to give you some phenomenal matches, and I'm telling you, these two are definitely legends in both Cruiserweight and Luchador style wrestling. Rey Mysterio was discovered in Mexico and brought in as part of the ECW company, and went on to become one of the biggest stars in the business. Chavo Guerrero made a name for himself in numerous wrestling organizations as well. But, I think that Rey Mysterio and Chavo Guerrero always had the God-given ability to create magic inside of the ring, and if they were to be remembered for anything they contributed to the business, it would have been these phenomenal matches. And right after, Chavo Guerrero sets the Cruiserweight division on fire, a few years later, right around the time when Hornswoggle was getting a push in a storyline where he pretended to be Vince's son and getting pushed with Finlay, and for some reason, for some unknown, ungodly reason, was becoming a popular WWE superstar and one of the main eventers in one of the main angles in WWE in 2000, and I believe it was 2005, 2006, 2005. They decide, they make the WWE makes the controversial decision to kill the Cruiserweight Championship and the division in its entirety. I mean, the Cruiserweight Championship is one of the most prestigious championships, probably just as prestigious as the Intercontinental or WWE Championship, and WWE trademarked the championship after the purchase of WCW back in 2001, and make the decision after trademarking it for several years to cancel the championship right around the time when you're putting the title on people like Rey Mysterio and Chavo Guerrero and so on. You know, I know a lot of people were upset over the fact that the Cruiserweight Championship was put on hiatus, and then later the decision was made to kill the division and the championship altogether. This is the reason why I believe that people like Chavo Guerrero and some of WWE's top cruiserweights and are going to either TNA or staying in WWE for some unknown reason and having nothing to do. This is why you're seeing Chavo Guerrero booked in these stupid vignettes and having these stupid gimmicks from week to week, because there's nothing for him to do. He can't compete for the Cruiserweight Championship anymore, so he's being made out to look like a fool from week to week, which there's absolutely no need of. Here you have one of the most talented Guerreros in the business, and he could be doing something more effective. He could even be a top contender for the United States or Intercontinental Championship. At least this would be giving him something to do. I'm big and creative for him to give him something to do, because from week to week he's doing stuff that fans are taking no interest in. He's worked programs against some of the most formidable opponents in the business. I just made reference to his programs with Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio earlier in this commentary, stuff that stands out. So, I mean, you need to create something for him to do. If you have nothing for him to do, at least trade him, trade him from SmackDown to Raw so he can go for the Intercontinental Championship in the 2011 draft. Or, the only other alternative I can see for Chavo Guerrero is go to TNA and do something in TNA, try out for the X Division. You're one of the most phenomenal high flyers in the business, known for your your aerial tactics. I mean, go to TNA and try out for the X Division. I mean, I'm sure Rey Mysterio would also find a place to fit in down there in TNA. I'm telling you, if anything, if Chavo Guerrero, if it's announced on WWE.com tomorrow or a week from now or a month from now, that Chavo Guerrero has been released and WWE are wishing him the best in his future endeavors, the one thing that you should remember him for is the tremendous contributions that he gave to WWE and WCW for, the Luchador division, for the phenomenal work he did, to promote the Cruiserweight division and set the Cruiserweight division on fire. Definitely the work he did as one of the most legendary teams in the business, ranking up there with the Hart Foundation, ranking up there with the world's greatest tag team, ranking up there with the Legion of Doom, ranking up there with Demolition, Los Guerreros. I mean, how many times did his Uncle Eddie and him get a tag team title run in WWE and always find a way to make it work? I mean, lying, cheating, and stealing, that probably sold as many t-shirts as Austin 316 did. Well, I don't know about that, but it sold a tremendous amount of merchandise. And it got over so well. Eddie and Chavo, together as a team, created magic in the ring, just as Rey Mysterio and Chavo Guerrero would any time they were put together. Eddie and Chavo were entertaining, they were funny, and they were able to make SmackDown one of the most phenomenal brands in WWE around the years of 2003, 2004. No matter if they were heels when they were first brought in, no matter if they were liked by the fans, they always found a way to get over, and that's why they went on to become Cruiserweight champions and WWE champions and accumulated, tremendous accolades. I'm surprised Chavo Guerrero hasn't done the same thing that his uncle did and release a book. I remember Eddie Guerrero's book. I didn't get a chance to read it, but if you ever do, definitely do it, because it will shed some light on, himself and Chavo and what they contributed to the business before his passing. I'm surprised Chavo Guerrero hasn't, released a book, because he has phenomenal stories, no matter if it's in WCW or WWE or working his way up the ladder of success. I'm sure that if he ever released a book, it would be an interesting read for almost anybody, because that is a man who has done so many things for a lot of people in this business. And definitely credit is due where credit is due. The Kerwin White stuff that he did, it's not even worth talking about. They made the decision to have him become Chavo Guerrero again when Eddie Guerrero had died from heart failure. I know that Eddie definitely battled a lot of personal demons and everything, and it led to his demise. The Kerwin White stuff was absolutely an insult to the Guerrero family, and it doesn't need to be discussed. It was definitely one of the lower points of Chavo's career. But I mean, is being Kerwin White even as low as what he's doing here now? I know a lot of people out there are probably saying, maybe Chavo Guerrero should hang up his hat and quit WWE, and I agree with you if you're a person who's saying that. Because if you have nothing for the wrestler to do other than act like a fool from week to week, then he shouldn't be there. He shouldn't be doing what he's doing, because I'm telling you now, Chavo Guerrero is one of the most phenomenal people in the ring, and he could be being booked against at least the Intercontinental Champion. If Kofi Kingston, who is a phenomenal wrestler, don't get me wrong, and Jack Swagger can be getting booked against Dolph Ziggler as the Intercontinental Champion, why isn't Chavo Guerrero being booked against the Intercontinental Champion, or why isn't he even replacing Dolph Ziggler as the Intercontinental Champion? I mean, he can do it. I mean, he had a run with the ECW Championship, and it wasn't really much to talk about, but at least he helped the ECW brand. But I mean, for the short time ECW was around, at least it'll stay in the record books that he was an ECW champion along the side of Bam Neely. It seemed like WWE tried to push Chavo Guerrero